Video appropriate? Hey folks, my name is Jen, and today I am here to do a video talking about my plans, or my reading plans, for February. First, I have a couple of books that I have picked out as they are like romances, so that fits in with February and like Valentine's Day. And then I have a couple of books I've picked out because February is Black History Month, so I chose those specifically for that purpose. And then I have books that I have chosen for a readathon that I am planning on taking part in. I wore my obstinate, headstrong girl necklace on purpose today, just for this. So to start off with, the readathon that I am planning on taking part in is Febregency. So Febregency is a readathon that is being put on by Emma at Bookish Princess, as well as I believe Miss Richards reads, Christy Lewis, and Jennifer Brooks. I will leave the links to all of their like announcements and stuff down in the description box below. So this is a readathon that is trying to focus on Regency works. So Regency, they're saying, is defined as between 1795 and 1837. So this is trying to expand everyone's reading beyond just Jane Austen. So the prompts are as follows, and I'll let you know what those are and then what my picks for those are. So the first prompt is like, it sounds like it's a two-part prompt basically, maybe even a three-part prompt. First part is to read a work that was written in that era. So for this, after doing some little bit of research on pieces from back then, and also listening to examples that the others have given in their videos, I've chosen to go with Evelina by Fanny Burney. This is apparently kind of it sounds like a coming of age sort of tale, in some aspects similar to Northanger Abbey, and also sounds like parts of it might be kind of satire-ish. So as I have a hard time sometimes with classics, I figure the best way to ease into other Regency writers would probably be to do something that is potentially going to be funny. The other part of that prompt is to read a Regency era poem. I have read a few Regency era poems before, and I have decided for this I am going to focus on Sir Walter Scott, since I know that I already like some of his poetry, so I'm going to make an effort to read more of his. However, I might also check out Lord Byron as well. He's not someone I was always particularly thrilled with from what I remember when I think we studied him a little bit in it might have either been like AP Lit in high school or at some point in like college, but he is an interesting person in history, so I'm also considering maybe looking into more of his poetry as well. And then there's like a bonus category for that, which is to memorize a poem, and then I think it's like to put up a video reciting it, or like show them or send them a video having recited it. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I think I know, if I decide to do that, I know which poem I would do, but honestly, I have a hard time memorizing things, so I don't know if that's something that I will be doing, but yeah. The next prompt is to read a Regency era play. So there were two options that I found for this that I thought were pretty cool. So they are both by Sheridan. The first of which is The Rivals, and I believe that that is the play that I'm actually going to go with because that was the play that I found. So it sounds like this is it's like a drama, but it also sounds like parts of it are going to be kind of funny. So that's cool. As I have not read a Regency era play before. I mean, I've read ancient plays and I've read Shakespeare, but I don't think I've ever actually read a play that was from this specific period before, so this will be interesting. He had another play called The Camp, which I was also interested in, as it has to do with, like, the American Revolution, but from the point of view of, like, British soldiers in, like, an encampment and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm Hamilton trash, so I found that to be pretty interesting. But it's apparently a musical, and I would want the context of the music and everything involved, and I have not been able to find any performance online or anything having to do with this. So I'm guessing this thing hasn't been performed since, like, the Regency era, so so I will most likely be going with The Rivals as the play that I will be reading in February. Interesting part on Sheridan, though, for anyone who likes Jules Verne. So I have read or listened to the audiobook of Around the World in 80 Days, like, so many times. I don't know what it is about it, but it is a major, like, comfort read and, like, comfort, like, listen for me. And the very first line of the book is describing where the main character, Phileas Fogg, lives. It says he lives in the house, I think it's 7 Savile Row, the house in which Sheridan died in 1814. And Sheridan had no context for me at all. I assumed maybe he's like some high parliament person or something like that. Had no idea. When I was looking up the playwright Sheridan, because I wanted more information on him and to also see what other works he had done, and then I was looking at his information and saw that he died at 7 Savile Row in 1814, something clicked in my head. That's like, oh shit. Now I have context to this thing that I have been reading and not quite understanding since I was like 11. So that's, you know, that's fun. The next prompt is to read a nonfiction book that is about that era. And for this one, I decided to grab Jane Austen, The Secret Radical. This is by Helena Kelly. So this goes into beyond just like societal whatevers, like it says past the grand houses, drawing room dramas, and witty dialogue, it working to go into her Austen's like radical views on such subjects as slavery, poverty, feminism, marriage, and the church. Everything that she explored in her 6 novels at a time when open criticism was considered treason. So it's like a different look on, you know, underlying things that Austen wrote about in the novel, which I thought was an interesting take on it. So I have this. I also actually have another purpose for having bought this novel anyway, and that is I am hoping to start a video series talking about specific authors and some of their works, and I was planning on starting with Jane Austen in February, so this is a plus. So now I have more information to glean for her for the video I'm hoping to make. But yeah, I think this will be interesting. And then the last prompt is to read a Regency work that either inspired Jane Austen or was mentioned in one of her novels. So for this one, I have decided to go with The Female Quixote, and this is by Charlotte Lennox. This is apparently Charlotte Lennox's answer to Don Quixote, and it involves a young woman, I think her name is Arabella, and it's basically Don Quixote but from a young woman's perspective, and it also is apparently kind of a satire. And Don Quixote is on my TBR, and it has been for a very long time, but I am already fairly familiar with the story because I have like loved Man of La Mancha since I was a kid, so just the idea of it kind of tickled me a little bit. So that is something that I have decided to go with for this. So yeah. So you might have been asking yourself, hey, where are the physical books? I don't have the physical books for any of those. I have this one because I purchased it. All of the other books, the Evelina, the Rivals, and the Female Quixote, I all found on Gutenberg. So that is what I will be reading them off of. I will be reading them online. If you are interested in these books at all, I will also leave the links to where I found them on Gutenberg in the description box below. As far as the poetry goes, I haven't looked up Byron yet, but I did find a website that is completely dedicated to Sir Walter Scott's poems, so I will put that link down below as well. Okay, now for the other books. So I have some books that I wanted to read for, you know, February, romance, Valentine's Day, all of that. So I have a couple of romances specifically for that purpose. Both of them are technically rereads. The first of which is Then Comes Marriage by Casey Michaels. This is actually technically, I think, this might be a Regency period read. I can't remember what year this was in, but this technically might also be in there. So this has to do with the Earl of Singleton, who is a little too nosy and asks too many questions about things, and has someone attempt to kill him. He escapes with his life, but decides to let society think that he has actually died so he can figure out who betrayed him and who wants him dead. And it involves like a secret identity and like investigations and just crazy stuff, but there's also like a romance that's involved, and I remember really loving this as a teenager. I remember reading it like multiple times, so I thought it would be fun to do a little reread appropriate for this month. It's also probably technically Regency period because I think this is in the early 1800s. I could be wrong though, but that's what I'm planning on. And next up is also technically a reread, but I don't remember reading this. It is the Dating Diaries, and this is by Kristen Kemp. So this is about a girl named Katie. All of high school she has dated one guy, and then right before prom he dumps her. She has not been without a boyfriend in like 5 years. She doesn't know what to do, so she makes a plan. She's gonna date 12 guys in 6 weeks to make up for all the time that she wasted on her dumb ex-boyfriend, but things don't really go to plan because dating's complicated. So yeah, it's just like a possible romance. Like I said, I obviously read this in high school, but I remember nothing about it, so I don't know if this is going to be like end up being a romance or end up being more about self-discovery. I'm not entirely sure, but I mean it sort of fits for February, so there we go. Then I have a book that actually counts as both a romance but also as my other plan for this month, which is to read books having to do with Black history, and this is An Extraordinary Union by Alyssa Cole. So this is about Elle, who escaped slavery but has recently traded in her freedom to go back to the South to spy for the Union Army. And it also has to do with Malcolm, who is a Pinkerton detective who is also undercover in the South at the same time. The two end up joining forces to try to stop a plot that the Confederacy has and try to end the war as quickly as possible in the Union's favor. And there's also like a romance happening at the same time. I do know that this is, I believe, a trilogy. I'm just not sure if all the books are going to have to do with these same characters or if this is just going to be them and it'll be like other romance novels that move on to like the next couple. But I mean, this sounds pretty awesome. I love Alyssa Cole's writing, so I'm excited to see where this goes, and excited to see how this trilogy goes in general, because I would like, if this is awesome, I would like to get the other books as well. And in keeping with the kind of Civil War theme, another book that I have chosen for Black History Month is The Underground Railroad by Colson Whitehead. So this is about Cora, who is a slave in the South, and she is one day urged by Caesar, who has recently arrived at the plantation in Virginia, to join the Underground Railroad. She leaps at the chance, but the Underground Railroad in this like speculative fantasy is not just a metaphor of conductors and stations of people like trying to help people along from house to house and tunnel to tunnel. This is a literal underground railroad, like a train that is actually in the earth. And along the way, like, Cora has this insane journey meeting various characters along the way on her trip. So it sounds like this is going to be really tough but also really fascinating at the same time, and I'm very interested to see how this like version of thing, like an actual train being involved, works out. I find that super interesting. And the last book that I'm hoping to get to this month is Dead Dead Girls by Nikisa Afia. As you can see, I have already started this book in January. This has to do with Louise Floyd. It is the 1920s during the Harlem Renaissance. Due to a traumatic thing that happened to her several years ago, she has been spending her time basically running between her job in the cafe and going out to speakeasies, as this is during the Prohibition, and just having a good time and trying to forget her trauma, basically. So Louise has some like family issues as well going on, and she also, as this is the 1920s, she has a girlfriend and is like trying to focus on enjoying the time with her girlfriend, but also keeping that on the DL because society. When young black girls start turning up dead, after Louise ends up in an altercation with a police officer, she is given the option by basically the chief that she can either go to jail or she can help them by infiltrating the nightclub scene and helping them figure out why these girls are going missing and what is actually happening. So that is it. That is everything that I am hoping to get to in February. I am going to be focusing on Febregency because those books, classics, take me a while to read and get through because I normally have to like really put all my brain cells into understanding how things are worded because it's just different than how things are worded modern day. So I think that's going to take up the majority of my time, is probably reading those books, plus I need to start with this book basically because I need information out of it for my video that I am doing. But otherwise, I I do intend to, if I can't get to anything else, I do definitely intend to get to An Extraordinary Union at least. But I would like to read the other books, hopefully this month as well. Please let me know if you are also interested in any of these books this month. If you are also planning on Febregency, do it. It's fun. Like I said, check out the other, check out the announcement videos I'm going to link down below. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful month, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!